So as you can see, like the prayer wheels have to be spun around in a clockwise manner because there are mantras written out here. Om Mani Padme Hum on the outside, but there is a whole bunch of paperwork inside saying Om Mani Padme Hum. So once you rotate it, all the mantras are being rotated. So you should go in a clockwise manner always. Yeah.
What language is it in?
It's Tibetan language. So first of all, like I would like you to be welcomed in the Observatory Hill, and it is also known as Mahakal Temple. Mahakal, he is a deity in Tibetan Buddhism. We believe that before Lama Dorje, he made a monastery out here. In mythology and our folklores, we say there was an asteroid that came from heaven, and the asteroid hit out here where people pray now. When the asteroid hit, there was 3 rocks that came out representing Vishnu, Brahma and Mahesh in Hindu culture, right? So the original inhabitants of Darjeeling people, they are Lepchas. Now we have a lot of culture, but the original inhabitants, the origins of Darjeeling, they are Lepchas, right? So before the monastery was built, that was in 1760s.
Yeah.
As I told you the story, there was an asteroid that came here, hit the land, and there was 3 rocks that came out. Lepchas and the local people, they believed in a born religion. They believed in nature. So they believed that something came from the heaven and hit that land, and they started worshipping the 3 rocks. Right now it's gold plated, if you see. Right now I'll take you inside. And what happened was, Darjeeling was always a part of Sikkim from before. Sikkim, as I told you, 1642 was the first capital of Sikkim, where the Namgyal dynasty starts. And the Namgyal dynasty ends in 1975, when Sikkim became a part of India, the 22nd state in India. So, the Sikkim king, he always built a monastery on top of a hill to show his dominance over the land. He built a monastery out here, right? So, when he built a monastery, the Gorkhas from the west, they were Orthodox Hindus. They didn't want any Tibetan Buddhism to flourish towards the west. So the Gorkhas had constantly coming in and out of Sikkim, plundering 16 times, right? Wow. So in the end, they came here and they plundered the monastery out here because the Sikkim king built a monastery here, right? So because of that, so the dates start from 1788 until 1814.
Okay.
So you must be familiar with River Teesta. River Teesta is a river that separates Sikkim state from West Bengal.
Okay.
From there onwards, the River Teesta, the Gorkha army had already taken over this land. Because this land belonged to Sikkim, and then the Nepal army attacked and plundered this area. It is the same time where Rabdensi ruins. I told you the first capital was Yoksum in Sikkim. The second capital was in Rabdensi. The second capital shifted in 1670. So when the Gorkhas invaded in 1788, so they plundered the second capital. The Sikkim king, he ran away to Tibet to be safe. Until then, from 1788 until 1814, the Gorkhas had taken over this place. It didn't belong to Sikkim anymore.
Yeah, I read about it. Yeah.
Right. Starting from River Teesta inwards. Right. So when all of this was happening, the capital of India was Calcutta at that time. I'm talking about 1788. So the British East India Company had already started to colonize India because they came as merchants and because of spices. So when they looked at the eastern Himalayas, there was no map. It was, Darjeeling was a chicken neck. So they wanted to explore. So what happened was, Sikkim king was vulnerable at that time. He didn't have an army. So the Sikkim king and the Chogyals, the Namgyal dynasty, the Sikkim king, they made an alliance with each other, right, to chase away the Gorkhas. So there was a war that took place. That is the Anglo-Gorkha War that happened in 1814, sir.
Okay.
In 1814, the Gorkhas came face to face with the British East India Company. So at that time, the Gorkhas, we only had curved knives. It's called the kukuri, right? We only had that. Whereas the British East India Company, they came with 600 men with cavalry. It was the gun known as the musket. Right, and they were still, they were very disciplined cavalry against Gorkhas. In 1814, the Anglo-Gorkha War, eventually the Gorkhas lost. because there was an alliance between the Sikkim king and the British East India Company. More men and guns, yes, and versus knives. So you know, if you look at the kukuri, if you're familiar with the kukuri, the curved knife that we have.
We've probably seen it in a museum.
So if you look at it properly, it has an E sign on the bottom. That was the revolution of the kukuri. Before that, please mind my language, but like our Gurkhas are mostly lefties. I'm a lefty, right? And we decapitate the head from the left hand side. So at that time, when they used to put the sword erect, the blood used to come and touch our hand. So you know, what happened was the weapon used to get slippery. So they made an E sign there, so that when we decapitate the head and when the blood comes, now the blood comes and drips off. It never touches our hand. Right.
Because of the E. So
The E sign,
because
yes,
of the actual
yes.
letter.
Yes, yes. So the blood comes and drips off. And actually that E sign represents the feet of the cow.
Okay,
So this weapon is actually a Hindu weapon. It is never supposed to be used to chop down a cow, because since the cow is a holy animal for us Hindus. So I was just telling you a little bit of revolution of the kukuri. You know? So after 1814, when the British East India won, the Gorkhas had to sign a treaty saying that the land between the two rivers that the Gorkhas had won, they are giving it back to the Sikkim king. The territory does not belong to the Gorkhas anymore. So that treaty is known as the Treaty of Sugauli, 1814. There was another treaty which was signed between the British East India Company and the Gorkhas. That was the Treaty of Titaliya. This was 1817. So after 1817, the Gorkhas went back to the west. Sikkim got back its land. Now between this period, the British East India Company was struggling a lot down in Calcutta because it was hot and humid. Everybody was struggling. They didn't have a hill station, right? There are many hill stations around India, but Darjeeling is supposed to be the queen.
You're the queen,
Why? Because it was the first one. Because as I've already told you, Kanchenjunga used to be the highest mountain of the world. After 1856, Everest came into existence and became the highest because of George Everest measuring the mountain. So what happened was, in 1835, Darjeeling was taken for lease from the Sikkim king. The Sikkim king gave Darjeeling as a gift to the British East India Company for helping them. The British East India Company, they were already struggling with all that heat. They wanted a place to recuperate, to come up to the hills. So as I told you, the first sanitarium was built. Darjeeling was taken for lease only for 3,000 rupees per annum. Imagine from that river to the other side. Only for 3,000 rupees per annum. It was like a rent that the British East India Company was paying. And the whole of Darjeeling, starting from Tista River until down there to Doors.
So that was in the 19th century?
This happened in 1835, ma'am. 1835, Darjeeling was officially given for lease as a gift from the Sikkim king to the British East India Company. So that is how Darjeeling started to get colonized now. Dr. Hooker comes in 1849 as a botanist. Not only as a botanist, but he was here to map all the Eastern Himalayas. Because Kanchenjunga was unmapped. The first circuit to Kanchenjunga was completed in 1899. William Bond Freshfield. He did a circuit around Kanchenjunga, mapping all the areas and the glaciers officially. So Darjeeling started growing slowly. Tea came in. For tea, they built the transportation for the railway lines. So the railways came in, tea came in, and from there, mapping started all over. Until then, there was no maps, no mountains named, no altitude marked. So from there, it started colonizing. So I wouldn't make it that boring for you. I will continue the history when we go to the other part. All right. So for now, we'll just go inside. You have a look around. If you have some questions, you can ask me anytime. Right?
Thank you. It's really interesting.
So if you look at the prayer flags, so there are different colors. The colors represent the elements. And if you look closely, like the prayer flags have horses. So there are mantras written on it. So they represent a holy place, and in time they also represent time, because in time the mantras will get deteriorated, and as the wind blows, you know, the strands, each strand have mantras, and the strands will get taken towards the heavens. That is the meaning of the prayer flag.
Okay.
Because all the colors, they are representing the elements of our world. So once the in time, because of the wind, and in time, you know, small strands, they will get blown away by the wind. So the mantras are getting blown away towards the heavens. So that is the actual meaning. Medicinal plant.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a medicinal plant. We call it the pennyworth in English.
Anywhere.
Yes, and in our local language it's called the golpata. All right, and this one is also a medicine. All right, this is the shape that I want you to know. It's known as Artemisia vulgaris.
Sorry.
This is Artemisia vulgaris. This is the scientific name.
Yeah.
All right, in English we call it the Indian wormwood.
Indian wormwood.
Indian wormwood. Yeah, so we call it titepati. So if you just crush it, and if you smell it,
Oh yeah, it's quite fragrant.
yes, it helps. So as I told you guys, so this monastery was like shifted here in 1860. So there was a huge earthquake that hit the monastery, that was in 1934. And of course now what you see, the Sikkim king helped rebuild the monastery after the earthquake. So this is the new version. So from the Observatory hill, the monastery has been shifted here down to Bote Basti monastery, which is known as the Karma Dorje Choling. Karma Dorje Choling is what is known as the original name. So it's kind of dark here, so let me get my I'll take out my flashlight. Wait.
I've got a torch. If it helps.
Yes, please.
I think you've just got a torch in there.
Here, can you see that rock there? The rock.
The rock, yeah.
Yeah, that is the asteroid that fell in the Observatory hill.
Oh really?
Yes. So this is what happened. I told you there was a rock that hit the land and 3 rocks came out. That is the asteroid that came and hit.
Wow.
And it's here. This is one of the prized possessions in Darjeeling, in this Karma Dorje Choling monastery.
That's the original rock.
So, like, if you read here, so it's written, this stone is existence in the monastery since it's here. So it's written like, you know, you should not move the rock here and there, as there will be natural calamities, just like landslide, you know, hailstorm and all that. And this is what I wanted to show you, you know. This is like a proof for my history, saying that, you know, the Gorkhas destroyed that monastery, remember, when they attacked. So the prized possession out there was the Book of the Dead too, but that was lost to us too, because like the Gorkhas burnt and destroyed the monastery. But this has been kept here, the asteroid. Now, if you notice here, this is the god of compassion, but this is known as Avalokiteshwara. I repeat that again. This is Avalokiteshwara, and it has 1,000 hands. In each hand, he has an eye on it.
Yes.
Yes?
I can see, yeah.
Yes. So it has 11 heads. It has 11 heads. On the top is the Sangye.
Oh my,
all right.
All hands here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you notice properly, he is holding the wish-fulfilling gem, the blue one.
The blue one, yeah.
Yes.
And that was for the...
So I have already told you that there is a god known as Cheng Rishi, which is the god of compassion. And I also told you a story that when the god of compassion, he looked into our world, Cheng Rishi saw the ocean of sorrow in our world. So when he saw the ocean of sorrow, since Cheng Rishi is the god of compassion, he started crying. And from the teardrops, the taras were born. All right. Since then, he wanted to hear and reach every human in our world. So the manifestation, another form of Cheng Rishi, is Avalokiteshvara. After the blessing, Cheng Rishi became Avalokiteshvara with the 1000 hand to see everybody, to hear everybody, and 11 heads. This is the manifestation of Cheng Rishi, the god of compassion, simply. It is Ijitaka with the one fang here, the teeth. It's a female and it represents Mother Earth, and it is a protector of only this monastery. You will find it out here. This is Ramla has thousands of
Yeah, we've had a really good time today, and we've just learned a lot about Buddhism, in obviously Tibetan Buddhism, and not only that, but we've learned a lot about the nature here, the history of Darjeeling,
The
plants as well, and it's just been an excellent day. So I'd really recommend anyone who wants to learn not just about Buddhism but about Darjeeling as well to do it with Nicholas.
And to the way that he's done it as well has enabled us to trek and see some amazing views a bit outside the city. So yeah, fully recommend it. Thank you.
Just go for it.
yeah. Okay, guys, it was nice meeting you guys.
Yeah.
All right. I had a good time with you.
Thank you.
It's been